My name is Matthew Myers. I work at American Rock Salt. I've worked here for almost 20 years. We work on a lot of diesel equipment. Not only do we work on diesel equipment, we tend to all the conveyors, anything that needs to be fixed and to keep the product going, we work on it.
Okay.
It's very important to, in my position, to know how to work on diesel equipment and to keep them running, not only to get our product out, but to make sure the machines stay safe and operate efficient. A diesel mechanic's responsibilities and duties are to do preventative maintenance on the machine, make sure all the brakes, suspension, hoses, everything is intact, not leaking, and that it is running to its full capacity. We do preventative maintenance and we have schedules for all the equipment. It's very important to stay on a problem if it exists, or to stay with the machine, make sure that the repairs are made correctly.
So with diesel engines and cylinders, stuff like that, you can use bigger tools than you normally would on gas engines. We do a lot of hydraulic hose work where we have to replace hoses. We have a whole hose machine and racks stocked with pre-made hoses. Hydraulics are under a lot of force, and the working pressure, you tend to blow a lot of hoses. One thing you want to know is how to definitely make a hydraulic hose, which is not real hard.
When I worked underground as a mechanic, we every day we came to a problem or a piece of machinery that was broken down in one of the yards down the mine. It might be a hose blown or an injector that just stopped working. So we would get our list, see what we needed to do, go out, assess the problem, and dig through the books and fix it, and make sure when we were all done, we'd test it, run it, and make sure that it was properly fixed. Now I'm a surface maintenance superintendent, so now it's my job to make sure the mechanics are doing the work properly and fixing the machines the way they should be fixed. If we need support, which sometimes you do, we call Caterpillar or whoever the maker of the machine is. Sometimes we get outside help, and I always make sure the mechanics work with them so they can learn anything that they might have missed or that these vendors might be better at than them. Typically I get here at about 5:30, 6 o'clock. That way I can brief with the third shift foreman in the maintenance shop. We run 3 shifts here, so it's pretty much 24/7. So I'll come in a little early and I'll get with him, and he'll explain to me that maybe a loader's down, or there's a skid steer, or even a belt line. We do everything here. We have to be very self-sufficient, and we fix whatever breaks. It may not be a machine, but I will get with him and we'll figure out the priorities, what should be worked on first. I will go down and talk to the employees, the mechanics, and address which priorities need to be started first. What inspired me to go the diesel mechanic route was I took a 2-year associate's degree at Alfred for gas engines. I went out into the field and I worked in a couple garages for about almost 10 years, and I knew what made them tick, and I wanted to go on to something else that would keep me interested. And my dad told me that there was a position open at the mine, and I was a little intimidated because I didn't know a lot about diesel mechanics or how they ran or all that, but I tried it out anyways. And once I got down in the mine and started working on the equipment, I realized that I could bring my fundamentals and everything I learned from gas engines to diesels, and with the books and the people's help, it wasn't that hard. We became a tight group down there and helped each other, and I started realizing that I could definitely do it. So when I was in high school, I wasn't real good at classes or any of the basic stuff, so they had the vocational schools, which are really excellent, and if anybody has a chance to do that, check it out, because that got me started to understand what it was all about and what made an engine run and how it ran, what it took to actually make them run. So when I went to the vocational school, I realized this is kind of a hands-on thing that I like and I'm good at. So after I graduated from high school, I went to Alfred State for 2 years for an associate's degree in gas. Skills you definitely would want to have to be a diesel mechanic, or any mechanic, even a gas mechanic, is attention to detail is very important when you're taking things apart, putting them back together, that you know where they go and the orientation. That's very important. You'll be using schematics. You'll want to know how to read those well, and you'll have to really have a positive attitude in life with everything. The attitude is everything, and there's going to be times when you're really stumped and it doesn't make sense and you're frustrated and you're busting your knuckles, but you just got to step back, take a breath, and realize you can get through it. And just one good thing, there's a lot of manuals. I really preach to all my guys too, is to use your tools. Your tools might be your hands, your fingers, the books, your eyes, ears. You really have to have your senses tuned well to work on equipment. A machine might have a code or something like that, so they got to get it out of a book or get it with a computer and scan it and read it and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
You have to go back to the book to find out what the code is, and you can't just do it all by hands turning a wrench. You have to go back to books or something off of a laptop or stuff like that. When I first came out into this trade, I was obviously a lot younger, and I was making 35, maybe 40,000. And through the years, that went up. Here at American Rock Salt, it pays very well. They expect you to do well, but you're typically running around anywhere from $50,000, $60,000 to $70,000, maybe more. It all depends on the position you're in. I started out as a mechanic here, made good money. We got bonus checks. It was all to how much we wanted to earn. There was really no limit. But I think back then it was right around 50, 55,000, and now I'm close to six figures. This company provides a lot of good benefits. They have a 401k, we have insurance, we also have a tonnage bonus. So the more tonnage we get out, we get a percentage of that, which can range anywhere from $400 to $4,000. That's why it's very critical to keep all the equipment going so the product can continue to go out. There's also a safety bonus. They prorate that. If the whole, as a group, the guys stay safe, don't get hurt, there's nothing documented, there's a bonus pool that they can also collect. The record was, I want to say 120 days. The best thing I like about my job is working with others. There's a certain satisfaction in working with a mechanic and seeing them be stumped, maybe frustrated. So they'll come up, I'll get them all together, and we'll go back down and troubleshoot the problem. And he might be like, oh wow, I didn't even see that. And it's really rewarding that I could help him, or even he could help me. Maybe I'm stumped on something, I'll get the mechanic, and there's a certain satisfaction to a machine that broke, that's not running, that you with your hands make run again, and it can go back out and do its job. In my line of work as a supervisor, something that really frustrates me is a person that is only here for just the money, the eat and skate type guy that doesn't really want to learn, doesn't care, has a bad attitude. Fortunately, they usually don't last long, but attitude is everything. You really have to have a good attitude and want to do good in your job. The most rewarding project I've done here at American Rock Salt was taking a loader completely apart on the surface, piece by piece, lowering it down underground 1,200 feet and putting it back together. That was the first year I came on. I worked with a gentleman from Caterpillar, and mainly it was just him and I, and we touched and took apart every nut and bolt and component. And when we finally got it done, it was about a month and a half to see that thing all back together, everything intact, start up and running and go out into the yards and actually haul the product was just, I'll never forget it. It was very rewarding. A big surprise that I got in this field was the changing of technology. When I first started, even back when I was working on cars, they were just tipping into emissions. And that grew and grew, and it got more intensified. And now there's Tier 4 in diesels, and it requires a lot of maintenance, schooling. You got to keep learning about how to maintain this system, and that just never ends. There's laptop computers we use now, and we have a lot of software. And like I mentioned earlier, the books, you really have to know how to navigate through the manuals. Advice I would give myself was to sometimes take things more seriously and to really listen to the people that have been in the position I'm in now. I probably didn't take them as serious as I should have, because there's no better way to learn than from someone who has experience. And you'll definitely want to capture as much as you can out in the field from the people that have been there and done the work and have seen what is a common breakdown, or how to fix something that breaks down a lot, or a common problem. Advice I would give to anyone out there that's thinking about this field, or any hands-on field really, would be to don't be intimidated. You can do it. It's all about your attitude and how much you really want to take from the experience. There's lots of jobs out there, especially hands-on welding, mechanics, construction, all of that really is a huge field. It's just the demand for those type of people, it'll never stop. And it's a trade that really needs people that want to do the work and do a good job. And there's very good money in it. There's very good money in it, and that is a skill that you might take 2 years or work in a garage for 2 years and say, hey, I kind of don't like this, but you get out of that and do something else. Well, you're going to be driving a car back and forth to work. Your wife might be your kids. You'll always have that skill or profession that you can use after the fact.